Okay, here we are with the our second match in the series. Um, yeah, looking at this hand, it's fairly awkward. The two land Nixos hands are just not great, you know. We've obviously got removal, and we've got creatures and stuff like that, but we can't really cast this until we hit two extra red land drops, and this until we hit one extra. Stormbreath's a long way off either way. Um, if we knew the matchup, we would be closer to keeping this. I think I'm going to throw it back though in the dark. This is marginally better, but still a bad hand. It's probably better than five though. Having less cards with the devotion deck just sucks. You don't really want to do that. So whenever you can keep, you normally should. I'll put this on top because it's a bit of action. Let's say an Orzhov land, which can mean a number of things at the moment. Actually, it can mean Esper control, Orzhov control, Black White aggro, Esper mid range. The little gate sort of firms us up. Knowing the cards that are on that account, it's definitely going to be Orzhov control. Obviously, you're not going to know that going into a tournament, but you know, sort of information that I can't make myself feel like I don't already know. Hammer is sweet in these matches against all these grindy black decks, um, as is Assemble Legion out the side, and and just stuff like that. Um, all your guys being good matters a lot here. That's one of the reasons I like this deck over the mono blue deck. Um, it's that all your devotion enablers are like Ashtel and Burning Tree Emissary and stuff like that. They're not quite as bad as like Cloudfin Raptor and Tidebinder Mage against these decks, or it's just even generically. So, given that you're probably not going to get your devotion game plan off, um, being able to have individually good cards makes a lot of difference. We always play the Nixos there just in case we draw one next turn. We can do some crazy shenanigans because it is mana positive with these two cards. And sometimes you want to do something when you have two of them. I don't think so with this hand, but okay. So that's extremely awkward for us because we don't have a white source to play either of these Chain of the Rocks. Although we do now, but we can't actually use it. Um, what we're probably going to do is we're just going to play out the Fnatic, pass the turn. We'll check what's on the top of our deck first. So another Nykthos. We don't actually need that, so we're gonna bottom it. So we'll add Red Devotion, Fnatic. Quite a lot of damage. She's already on 9, so not an irrelevant amount, obviously. Coming in with that Fnatic, 5 damage is always strong. Could have traded this in for 4 damage. Could have. I think that's probably the right choice. If we don't already have a bunch of Chains of the Rocks and stuff. So, given that we can deal with one threat that he has next turn. So if he plays another threat, these guys won't get removed, and we get to make a hammer token and get rid of one of his guys. It's pretty good for us, unless it's like a Blood Baron or something like that. I know the deck plays it, but yeah, I think we're in a good position this way. Okay, he's obviously making a decision here with his Desecration Demon. I don't want to commit to tapping it with this guy until I know what I'm drawing for the turn and what else he can have. If he was to attack with it to get 6 damage in, that would be great for me. So, um, yeah, not really much of a choice having to do that. Okay, so Pack Rat. Okay, Patagus Radigus. All right. Well, that's going to allow us to remove two guys. Probably leaving him with a 1/1 Pack Rat, but that's totally fine as well. I think this is just going to be GG's here. So we're gonna take two. We're gonna cast Chain of the Rocks on this. Gonna target the pack rat first because we want him to commit to making another one um, before we're actually sure of what's happening. If he's got a removal spell on hand, he has to make a choice here. And he doesn't know I have the second Change of the Rocks. So if he knew I had this Change of the Rocks, I think the right choice would just be to let the pack rat die, um, remove something. But I don't think that's what he's going to do. Yeah. Okay, so he's got a 1/1 pack rat. Target my mountain. Get rid of the Desecration Demon. And then add Red Devotion. Sacrifice this. Obviously in a position now where he has to block the Fanatic or the Golem, so I get to kill this extra pack rat either way. More than likely though, he's just not going to be able to deal with this board state. Short of playing a Blood Baron will help, but I'm not sure that even gets in there. No, it doesn't. So he's going to have a butt ton of removal spells. And every land we draw is an extra creature, so yeah, it's pretty bad for him. Yeah. Drawing him out for the turn. Okay, so in this matchup, you want to sort of provide them with things they don't have answers to. When they have really, really strong proactive hands, for example, pack rat hands, and you don't have removal for it, you're just in a lot of strife, so you don't really worry about that. I mean, you bring in the extra removal because you want to kill stuff, but that's not the reason for these. These are for when the game stalls out. You want one card that can just take over the whole game. Um, Being the Orzhov deck, it does have access to enchantment removal, but I don't know that it's playing it at the moment. So it's pretty good for us right now. Wear and Tear comes in if they're playing Underworld Connections. We did see a Read the Bones, so I would assume that they're not playing it, and it's not worth bringing in. Mortars kills, Blood Baron, Chain of the Rocks kills, Desecration Demon both kill Pack Rat, which is the main one. We would definitely not be playing 8 pieces for 8 threats out of that deck, given that they've got Desecration Demons. But given how just dominating Pack Rat will be to the game if it takes control, yeah, we're just gonna bring it all in. You can even bring the Anger of the Gods in, but I don't think that's worth it. Uh, and Burning Earth is, it's worth thinking about, but I think this is fine. I don't actually want the extra hammer here. He can't. It's only good if they thought seize the first one, having multiples, because they're legendary. They can't actually get rid of them once they're in play. So it's sort of different to the blue-white control matchup where you want to bait out answers by playing a bunch of these because they're so dominating. Here, I feel like they're not quite as worth bringing in. Um, that being said, I will bring it against mono black a lot of the time, um, just because it's just not as how do I say it? It's not their threats aren't quite as oppressive with the blood barons and stuff like that. Anyway, we have to cut 4 cards. I'm gonna cut Burning Tree Emissary just because it's got the lowest card quality. Um, it's basically choose your own adventure with that. Boros Reckoner is actually quite good in this matchup because of Desecration Demon matching up badly against it. So we want to leave those, which leaves us with taking out a 2-drop. So it doesn't really matter which one. I just prefer to keep the other two in Thoughtseize matchups. This is a bit sad. We're gonna have to mulligan again. This is totally fine. Not overly aggressive, given all the tapped lands, but it's a fine cape, so we're gonna stick with it. We might be Thoughtseize here. No, okay. All right. I actually want to put the temple into play. I'm going to put that on the top of the library, given that we have a hammer. The function of these in this deck is actually quite different to other decks that you see in the format. We have to deal with this pack rat, so this turns fairly just a mandatory play. Um, yeah, so in other decks like Esper Control, for instance, these are they have a really good card selection role, um, and they don't actually do that here. They're just a smoothing tool for us, um, which is not quite as high value in some respects, but in other ways it's infinitely better to have these mid-rangey decks that are just never gonna flood out too much or are never gonna miss their land drops by too far. Um, it makes it's very powerful to be in the mid range when that's in the format, I think. Okay. Um, so hammer is going to be pretty sweet if I can land it. I land it here. It'll allow me to run Fnatic out as a haster and Boris Rekna out as a haster. I'm not particularly worried about him attacking me with this Desecration Demon. He won't be able to race me without infinite removal spells. And hey, if that happens, it happens. You can't really do anything about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel that like we're going to be able to generate enough significant threats that he's going to have to deal with them in some way, shape, or form. And most of that's going to be by keeping the Desecration Demon back. Interesting to note, he's not got any white mana right now. I don't know if that's constraining his plays or not, but it's totally a possibility. So go us, I guess. All right, so we have a choice between Boris Rekna and Fnatic here. I would rather Fnatic gets. Okay, so there's two lines of play. It's more efficient to run out the Boris Rekna and then get more damage in off the Fnatic, but the assumption here has to be that he's got removal because what else is he playing? He's got four cards in hand, has missed his land drop for the turn, hasn't played out another Desecration Demon, hasn't played out another Pack Rat. It's possible that he's got all white cards in hand, but I don't think so. So you need to decide which one is going to get removed because the second one isn't going to have that first one in play. So the Fnatic's never going to get the value off the Reckoner, is what I'm trying to say here. And I'd rather that the Fnatic gets met with a Doomblade or what have you because um, first of all, if he doesn't have it, it's going to get in slightly more damage. Secondly, we get a lot of value from the enter battlefield effect, and thirdly, Desecration Demon cannot block Boris Reckoner, um, not profitably anyway. So we'd rather have this guy sticking around as an aggressive threat. So yeah, so we see the Devour Flesh taking one less damage by removing my Fnatic with the ability still on stack. We're constrained to playing like one spell a turn, so that could be an issue. He's got a 3 turn clock on us at the moment. The Mutavault doesn't really change that, so I don't think he will bother attacking with it right now. Especially if he has ways to spend that mana. Another Desecration Demon. Okay, this is legitimately an issue because he's just going to kill us next turn if we don't do anything. We may have just lost this game. I can't think of a way that we can deal with both of these guys. Um, I can obviously start making tokens here or running out guys and sacking them to tap, but that's only a 2 turn clock, and I can't think of anything we can draw. Like we can draw Change of the Rocks, but only deals with one of them. Um, okay, so we'll pass and we'll make a token um, with this and sack it. We don't want to waste Stormbreath Dragons that way. These are going to be too good if we get out of what is actually a fairly oppressive board state, which probably won't come up. So the good thing about these is that yeah, they're gonna trigger, and we're gonna make a hammer token in response. Pay 3, sacrifice a land. Interestingly enough, he doesn't remove the token there. Um, if he did, we would just be dead. So either he didn't see it or he doesn't have the removal, basically. Or the removal is like a Devour Flesh or something like that, and it's actually beneficial for him to be tapped rather than casting that spell. That doesn't get us out, so we're just going to concede. For all the Desecration Demon haters out there, that is why that guy's in the deck. That dude is super, super oppressive when he works. I'm pretty happy with how we're boarded. We're just going to go to the next game. But yeah, he's a card that I see people shaving every now and again, and I hear a lot of people complaining about playing it because it's. I mean, that ability makes it really bad or really badly positioned. Like, if you're behind and you cast a Desecration Demon, he's an unreliable blocker. He's probably not going to get you out of that situation too easily. Whereas something like, for instance, like an Obsidat or a Blood Baron or something that's a reliable blocker at least will be able to do. But a 4-cost 6/6 flyer that requires them to lose a card every turn to keep up with it is just really, really powerful when it's proactive. And because that deck's got so much removal, and we'd like to play first, um, that's what it's about. So, no, we're not going to mulligan. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that card actually. I think it's got its we're going to bottom that because we already got one. It's got its flaws, obviously, but I mean the card's just simply quite strong. Perfrost is good here. You definitely want him for the direct damage. And because you have such a creature density, he's on every now and again when they don't have Supreme Verdict because they're just going to run out of removal spells. It's going to be a variance thing based on their hand. They don't have infinite removal, even if it seems like it sometimes. Okay, we're just going to run Zalash Salad out. See if he wants to do something this turn or he just wants to kill my guy. See, maybe a Read the Bones or a removal spell somewhere here. Okay, Chain the Rocks is, not good right now, but it could be excellent next turn. I'm assuming this guy's going to die here. Last breath, sure. I got more. Obviously looking for another land here. Bottoming that Nixtclose is still the right choice, so it's not very good for us having a second one of those. Again, with the last press. Okay, so he's on mono removal this hand. And we can't cast anything right now, so we're going to pass the turn. Do hate having mana troubles in a Scryland 25 land deck, but I guess you do get that as soon as we play with Nixthos. Alright, Read the Bones. Funnily enough, we are on 28 life, just from his removal, so I'm not sure that's particularly relevant, but it is a thing that happened. Again, blank, so, well, I mean, not a blank, but blanked on the land, did not hit. Because we got this removal, though, he's going to be hard pressed to capitalize on the situation. Probably the best thing he could do would be to pack rat, make a pack rat, but then we've got removal for that anyway. So, hey, we can do something, including but not limited to removing that guy. I actually think it's better to be proactive here, though. I would rather run this Perforos out and be able to come up with some sort of combination play if we hit a land next turn. The 6 damage is not particularly relevant, given that he's already given us 8 extra life. When playing against Desecration Demon, it's important to remember that you can sacrifice the gods to it. Uh, I mean, yeah, it's a hardcore demon, you can do that. Um, it's a strong move a lot of the time because you'll be constrained on creatures and needing to tap it for an extra turn, and sacking anything else will turn this guy off anyway, so you might as well get rid of it. Okay, so this might be the Chain of the Rocks gone. Um, it's not the worst. We'd prefer to be able to kill the demon, but we can pressure his life total. We're not that far behind. If he drops another demon again, I think we might just lose. But that's sort of the way it goes. Do like how good in models it is. Okay, he took the Mizium Mortars, so presumably he's got a Blood Baron in his hand somewhere. Um, I mean, we don't know that, but I think he does. Another Change of the Rocks. Okay. Um, Look, I'd like to play the Boris Reckoner, but it's just, it's gonna be too much damage. So we're just gonna chain this guy. Um, yeah, we don't need to be fast in this match. We like to be sometimes. It's not bad for us to be able to be fast, but we can play a 1-for-1 game. They're going to get ahead on cards at some point, but they do have blanks. Yeah, there's the Blood Baron. Not so much of an issue. Nick is obviously worried about defending his life total, which is, more than fair enough here. But yeah, okay, so this is going to do 2 damage. So every time we play a creature, it's going to do 2 damage and undo half a swing from the Blood Baron. There's creatures that can block it. Storm Breath matches favorably up against it. The reason we're playing the Reckoner is because we want the Nykthos to do something, and we want this to be red mana or more than one land worth of mana. But it's quite possible that it dies. I don't know. We'll have to see. It can't block the Blood Baron. Not that it would want to. Okay, so we get the Valfleshed. His clock here isn't fantastic, especially like he's done what 10 damage to us, and we're still on 21. Um, yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at the top card. Do not want to borrow Skillgate, so gains us no information except for it's not that specific borrow Skillgate. I'm gonna lay out this dude here. Similar move to last turn. There's also the benefit of if he wastes all his removal on Reckoners, this Fanatic's going to stick and it's actually going to brickwall this Blood Baron unless he wants to trade, which is totally possible. Okay, let's gain some more life. We're just trading cards for cards here. He's staying on, about 14 life. We're staying on a little bit over 20. Um, he's coming back on life a bit, and he's up on cards right now. Okay, that's actually bad. That is not what we wanted to see. Alright, Temple of Triumph. Fine. Do not want another land. Mizium Mortars here would be disgustingly good for us. I think so. He gets to go make a rat. So the 2/2s next turn make a rat, activate Mutavault, or make a rat. So they're all 4/4s. I don't think killing this here actually affects um, the ability to kill the rats with an overloaded Mizium Mortars, and I do think that that's the only way we're going to win. Um, unless we're racing. So I don't feel like chaining the pack rat to the rocks is actually a good move here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run out the Storm Breath. If he wants to make a rat, he won't be able to kill it. It's going to deal 6 damage, including the Perforos enter effect, and it's also going to make this do 2 more next turn. Okay, I could also just do that. Would have been nice to have an untapped land there. Oh. Alright. I would think this is the Change of the Rocks going, but you never know. No, he doesn't want the Fnatic in play. Okay. My kingdom from his immortals. So, presumably gonna pack rat, activate Mutavault. Or not? Okay. Assemble Legion. Um. That is something that can keep up with pack rat. Obviously, you get to block him every turn. He's throwing away cards on it. Eventually, you're going to actually overtake his ability to make rats and be able to chump block. And every time, because of the Perforos, you're doing 2 damage for each of those guys. So in a long game here, I'm going to be pretty favourable. I'm just going to spend this Chain of the Rocks now to kill off one of his pack rats, force him to spend a card to keep it in play. We won't be able to block this Blood Baron, so we are on a clock, but yeah, okay, makes a rat. That was a mistake, by the way. You should always chain the token. They're identical, except the token disappears. So if this Chain of the Rocks dies for some reason, he won't get it back. Okay, so he wants to make 2 rats, I'm assuming. He may have done the maths on that. Again, a Miz Immortus for me would be really gross. Probably just wins the game here, but okay. That's not action. I feel like that's just us dead. So yeah, he's going to be able to swing in for 10, even after the block. So yeah, we just needed to hit a little bit more action there. This is what you get in these top deck wars. And one of the reasons that I really like Hammer is because he does turn these into action. But yeah, he's saying don't draw Miz Immortals. Um, yep, did not do that. I'm going to concede the game. So that was a close one. I feel like it's a fairly 50-50. Yeah, it's 2 cards down. Um, Fairly 50-50 matchup this. It's I feel like it's a bit harder than the mono black matchup because you actually you can't afford to waste your removal quite as much as you can there. Like you want to get rid of Pack Rat, you want to get rid of Blood Baron, and you want to get rid of Desecration Demon. All of them requiring specific answers at specific times. Like Pack Rat requires any answer, but you do need it on turn 2. Blood Baron needs Miz Immortals, and Desecration Demon needs a Chain of the Rocks. So yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to our final match now.